everyone! Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about how to get on Slinky Dog and other popular attractions without a wait.
I'm Christina. I'm a traveler, a planner, and most importantly, a mom. I'm sharing my best tips to make traveling as a family a little less stressful. So put down your phone, pack your bags, and let's showcase the world.
So I'm not just talking about Slinky Dog, I'm talking about all of the most popular attractions in the park. So each park has a very hard to get Fastpass or something that just has hours and hours of waits each day. So today we're talking about how to get on those attractions without a long wait. Some of those attractions are, you have Slinky Dog in Hollywood Studios, you have Dwarfs Mine Train in the Magic Kingdom, you have Flight of Passage in Animal Kingdom, and you have Frozen Ever After in Epcot. Now those are going to change as new attractions open. I'm sure the more popular attraction soon in Hollywood Studios is going to be Smuggler's Run. That's not opening until later this year. So these strategies can be used on any attraction, not just the ones that I mentioned. Any new ones that come up, you'll be able to employ these tactics. So the first one is to book early. Book your vacation early. The earlier you book, the more likely you're going to get that availability. In terms of getting your Fastpasses, you want to make sure you're booked at least 60 days in advance. That's actually not that far in advance for a vacation, but you want to make sure that you are booked before that Fastpass window opens. That 60 days I mentioned is only for people staying on site. So that's tip number 2, is to make sure you're staying on site, because you get a full 30 days to make your Fastpasses before it opens to everybody else. So that is huge when you're trying to get those hard to get Fastpasses. The other benefit you have for staying on site is the use of extra magic hours, which I'll talk about a little bit later. You want to book those Fastpasses the day that it opens. So again, 60 days if you are staying on site, 30 days if you're staying off site, and you want to book that right at 7 o'clock in the morning as soon as it opens. I typically log in about 5 minutes early, make sure everything is up and running, and then refresh as soon as it hits 7 and snag what you want first thing in the morning. If you've booked with a travel agent, you don't have to worry about this. Most travel agents will take care of this for you. So just make sure you ask beforehand, before you book with a travel agent, what services they offer. This is one that I offer to all my travelers. I book all their dining and all their Fastpasses. I also employ these tactics that I'm going to talk about so you have a better chance of getting on those attractions. The first one is to plan your must-do attraction later in your trip. So I couldn't really figure out a concise way to say this, so bear with me here. So when you book your vacation, you typically will book your Fastpasses, right? So there's people who are checking in and checking out before you, and they've already made their Fastpasses for your first 1, 2, 3 days in your trip. So the further you are in your trip, so say you're going on for 7 days, the amount of people who've already made their Fastpasses for that day is pretty limited. So the further out you can make it, the more likely you're able to get it. Also, if you take a longer trip, you're more likely to get it too. So if you need an excuse to take a longer trip, there you have it. You want to make sure that you are logging into your My Disney experience before you do any of this. You want to make sure your tickets are properly linked. You want to make sure your friends and family are linked. You don't want to be doing this on the morning of. You want to do this a week or 2 before. Make sure you have everything up and running, and then you can work through any tech issues with My Disney experience tech team. So I should have said that before when I was talking about making your Fastpasses, but I got there eventually, right? Book your Fastpasses in the order of popularity, not chronologically. So again, most people are going to log in and they're going to say, oh, I'm going to Magic Kingdom on day 1. I want to ride this first and this second and this third. And then they're going to go to day 2 and then they're going to go to day 3. If you do it in the order of, okay, Slinky Dog is most important to me. It is later in my trip, I'm going to book that one first. You're more likely to get it. So I typically will go in the order of Slinky Dog, Flight of Passage, Frozen Ever After, Dwarfs Mine Train. I'll get those 4, and then I'll go through chronologically. If those aren't the 4 that you want to ride, do whatever's most important to you. So if your big thing is you have to get on Small World while you're there, even though that one's not going to go quickly, if that's the most important to you, book that one first. So those are your Fastpass, making your Fastpass tips. If you can't get it still when you've tried all of those things, keep checking. People change their plans, they cancel their trips. You might grab a cancellation. So keep checking, especially the day before or the morning of. That's where you'll see a lot of cancellations. So check. If you still can't get it, plan on rope dropping. If your family can get up before the park opens and you're staying on site, you want to use those extra magic hours because they'll definitely help you. If you cannot get there an hour before the park is set to open, whether it's an extra magic hour or not, then don't go on an extra magic hour day. Your biggest benefit here, so if you're not staying on site, you want to get there, you want to go on a non-extra magic hour day, is to get there 60 minutes before the park is set to open. I know that sounds a little crazy, but they typically open these big attractions before the posted park time. So they'll let you into the turnstiles, say 20, these are just arbitrary numbers, but say 20 minutes after you get there, they'll let you through the turnstiles. And then they'll let you to the hub of the park. And then they'll bring you down to the land that the attraction's in. And then they'll let you into the queue. Then they'll typically start running the attraction 10 to 20 minutes early. So if you are there, you'll probably wait about 20 minutes for the park to open, and then you'll just feel like you're moving and you're not waiting in that long queue. And it doesn't feel like you're waiting for an hour at that point. So definitely get there early. If you are not an early morning person, there are alternatives. They do cost a little bit extra. That is the VIP tours. You can do a private one. If that's not in the budget, because that is a big ticket item, you can do one of their smaller guided tours. They're about $200 to $300 a person, which sounds steep, but when you're looking at the private tours, is much better. It's a small group tour. They're themed, so they have the Ultimate Day of Thrills, which will bring you, I believe, is 7 hours, and will bring you to all the parks and all of the thrill rides in all of the parks. Or you have the Classics tour, which is a little bit shorter at 4 hours and brings you to all the classics in the Magic Kingdom. That's most of the rides that don't have a height restriction. They'll backdoor you onto. And then there's an evening one at Animal Kingdom as well that guarantees you get on Flight of Passage. So if that's important to you, definitely look into that one. There's also Morning Magic, which are definitely a little bit lower budget. So those ones that I was talking about take place during park hours. Morning Magic, so not to be confused, there's Extra Magic Hour, which is free to on-site guests. Then there's Early Morning Magic, which is a completely separate thing. It is an extra cost, but it gets you into the park early, and there's not that many people there. So it's a huge value, and there's only some attractions open. So they've changed it since I went, but when I did Early Morning Magic, they had 7 Dwarfs Mine Train open, Peter Pan, and Winnie the Pooh. So we did probably all of them 3 times before the park opened, 3 times each. So 7 Dwarfs 3 times, Peter Pan 3 times, and I think we only did Winnie the Pooh once or twice because it's not my favorite. But that's 9 rides in about an hour and a half. It's crazy. That is so worth it because you also get breakfast. So with breakfast included, it's a little less than $100 a person. Really great value. There's also after hours. They have special after hours events at some of the parks, and the same thing. There's not that many people there. You can walk onto all the attractions. I believe somebody did all of the attractions in one of those after hours. It was hard. It was hard to get through all of them because there's so many in the Magic Kingdom, but they were able to do all of them. So the dates and times and the park offerings and what's open changes all the time, but take a look at it if that's something that you're interested in. I hope that this helps you. I hope that you're able to get on your favorite attraction. If you want a little bit more hand-holding, or you want someone to take care of all of this for you, make sure you head to my website and request a quote. I'd love to help you plan your Disney vacation. And guys, I hope I inspired you to explore the world together.
Need help planning your next family vacation? Visit us at showcasetheworld.com to request a quote or schedule a free vacation consultation. Want more great travel tips? You'll find those there too.